Pre-K, it's time to talk about clocks. Have you seen a clock like this? I'm sure you've seen them around. These clocks look a little bit different than other clocks you may have noticed that have just a row of numbers on them. This clock has a round circle. You've seen this before, right? It has a round circle. It goes all the way around, and it has the numbers 1 through 12, and they go in this direction. Can you count with me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the bottom, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 at the top of the clock. So 6 is at the bottom, 12 is at the top, and it goes around in this direction, this way. In fact, this direction is called clockwise because you're wise about a clock if you know the right direction to go. This is also the direction that the hands move. These two are called hands. And this round part, this big round part, is called a face. Can you imagine if we had hands on our face? A clock has hands on his face. Look, there are 2 hands. We have 2 hands. There's a shorter hand and a longer hand. This shorter one is called the hour hand. And I like to think of the hour hand as our little friend. This is our little friend, the hour hand. He's the short little one. He's little and short and smaller than the other hand. This is the bigger hand. This hand is called the minute hand. Now this minute hand makes me say, wait a minute, hand. Wait a minute, hand, because he likes to do crazy things, and you'll find out what. He likes to be a little bit crazy. Our little friend, the hour hand, it's a very good hand. This little hand is our little friend, the hour hand. He's little, and he is such a good friend because he always does the right thing. I love it. If you always look at this hour hand, you're going to say, oh, what a good little hand, always doing the right thing. He's our little friend, the hour hand. And this one, oh my goodness, this minute hand gets a little crazy. He does some wacko things, some things that you're like, what? Makes you say, wait a minute, hand. Minute hand gets a little crazy. Each of these hands like to point around the clock, and they point different directions or sometimes the same direction. Sometimes they're pointing to the 12 or the 1 or the 2 or the 3 or the 4, or sometimes they're even pointing in the middle. That's a little crazy. But each of these hands going a different place tells a different time. Now it's really hard to know all the times on the clock, but I want to tell you just a few. If you pay attention, you'll know on a face clock, just remember this is the face of the clock, you'll know on a clock like this what time it's telling if you watch closely. Now, let's just look at the hour hand first. It's so good. It's such a good little hand, our little friend. He says the number's name so nicely. He goes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh my goodness. Hey, that's no problem. That's why he's our little friend, because he's so easy. He's no problem, and he does just the right thing. So whenever you see the hour hand pointing right at that number, you just say that number. 12, 1, 2, no problem. Now this minute hand, he's a crazy one. He is a little bit crazy. And watch this. When he's at the top of the clock, when he's up here on the 12, he doesn't say 12. Shouldn't he say 12? I tell ya, he makes me say, wait a minute, hand. You should be saying 12, but do you know what he says? He says, oh, clock. It's like, oh, clock. He likes to say, oh, clock. And it makes me a little confused because I think, wait a minute, looks like it should be 12. But if you remember that he says, oh, clock, when he's at the top. When he's at the top, he says, "Oh, clock." When he's up at the top, he says, "Oh, clock." And I even like to put my hands way up in the air and make like an O and say, "Oh, clock." Can you put your hands way up at the top of the clock and go, "Oh, clock." Does it look like a letter O? Oh, clock. There you go. One more time. Oh, clock. Good for you. Now, when you see that "oh, clock" up there, you know that all you have to do is look at the first number that the hour hand is pointing to and say its name, 3, and then the minute hand at the top says, "Oh, clock." So this is 3 o'clock. What if this was moved down here and the minute hand still stays up at the 12? Now it's 4 o'clock. Ooh, now we know another time. 4 o'clock. Always start with the hour hand first. Our little friend, so much easier. Start with the easy one first. 4 o'clock. Now let's see. I'll make another one. I'll do another one. I'll see if you can figure it out. Are you ready? Okay, I'm going to make it say a different time. See if you can tell me what it says. I want to hear you yell it out so that I can hear it all the way from my house. What time is it here? 7 o'clock. Oh, you guys, good for you. Okay, this time see if you can beat me, okay? See if you can say it faster than I can. If you can, oh man, I know you guys are super duper smart. Did you get a sneak peek at my clock just now? That's okay. Ready? 9 o'clock. You guys are getting it. Okay, I'm going to do just a couple more. Here we go. Ready? Try this one. Look at the hour hand first. The hour hand is pointing to the 11 o'clock. Remember that minute hand pointing up at the 12 says o'clock. He doesn't say 12. It might make you think, oh, I'll say 11, 12. 11, wait a minute, o'clock. 11 o'clock. Let me do one more, and I think you guys might have it. Are you ready? Ready? Take a look. What time does this say? Look at the hour hand first. Our little friend. Look at this one first. 2